After just shortly 7 hours, over 1,200 of you idlers have voted, and I'm actually not too surprised by the results. 62% of you idlers have voted that you are playing the solo E5 enable 5 gameplay, and on my baby junior account, I just made my first E5 as well. I find it funny that in a team building game, the majority of the players have to sacrifice their team to push one hero. The irony. Today we are going to discuss the best heroes to build as your first E5 and talk about their strengths, categorize them in a little list, and talk about some alternatives, the B tier heroes as well. So let's jump in. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dome. Make sure you grab your front row seats for all you new folks out there. My name is Zeals, and you may be wondering, why should I trust you? Well, let's see here. I love long walks at the park with my dog, and I love coffee. We're similar, you and I. Maybe not, but I am the biggest nerd for idle heroes, and I have a big dick for the game. I have tested all the heroes day one of their release or rework extensively, and I want to share them with you, squad members, so get some snacks. Nothing too crunchy though. I don't want you to not hear me over your jaw-breaking munchies. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and smash that like button. Now, before we dive right in, if you haven't already done so, make sure you check out this video first and then this one as well before you dive into today's. Especially this one. I highly recommend this one, or you may scratch your head and leave embarrassing comments below. So just give me a couple seconds, let me go over the channel news. First, I want to thank you so much, my 96th and 97th Patreon members, Achi and Amnesia Hayes. Thanks for committing to the Patreon squad. Also guys, make sure you support my previous video and get it up to 500 likes to unlock another channel giveaway. And speaking of the previous video, I did get a sponsor, aka paid product placement. I think a very few folks are confused as to what that is, so I want to clear that up real quick. It doesn't mean I drop idle heroes and go full-time into whatever I am sponsored for that video. It was just that video. If anything changes with my relationship with idle heroes, you will be the first to know through a video. For now, the show must go on, so let's get in it. In the Shadow faction, it's gonna be without a doubt Mr. Horus. My first E5 on the baby junior account, yeah. And in the Fortress faction, it's gonna be Miss Penny. You know what, we have talked about these heroes countless times, over 20 videos per hero. I know that's like a little exaggerated, but anyways, we have Cthugha in the Abyss faction, and in the Forest there are 2 heroes. We have, of course, Miss Valkyrie, Miss Garuda. Now, we're going to talk about their strengths and weaknesses, but before we get right in there, guys, I just want you guys to know these heroes are just tiers above other heroes. So if you worked on Horus instead of Miss Penny, then you'll be fine. But let's say you have a choice. You have 4 copies of Horus and Penny. I don't know what happened. Maybe you got so lucky. You have 4 of each, and you need to know which one to pick. Then I'm your boy for that. Anyways, we'll talk about their strengths, but first of all, it all comes down to the copies. Do you have the Penny copies? Do you have the Cthugha copies? Do you have the Valkyrie and Garuda copies? And lastly, do you have the Horus copies? So whatever copies you have, make sure you focus on that hero. And once again, you don't want to evenly spread your resources into multiple. Like for example, if you have a Penny, like 3 copies of Penny and 3 copies of Horus, I don't want you to build both these projects. And I discussed that in full detail in, I don't even want to call it a tier list, because like I said, guys, they're all great heroes. And why am I not recommending Ada? She is clearly just so good in early game, except for maybe Sealant, but she's really solid. And why don't you recommend her? Because you're not going to make an E5 Ada as your first E5 hero, so we'll chuck her out to the side. I'm not saying she's bad, she's great. Well, before we get into the categories, I want to talk about these 4 icons here. Well, Tower of Oblivion is important as well, but I want to talk about these 4 and the guild tab. I guess that's 5 then. Sealand and Aspen Dungeon is going to be your most reliable sources of fodder generation, as well as other resources. So I'm going to heavily prioritize these two places. So when it comes to deciding on your first E5 hero, these two things, you gotta weigh them in a lot more than, for example, Brave Trials or Arena. But once again, it'll be determined by your luck with the hero copies. First on up, I want to talk about the Aspen Dungeon. Which heroes are really strong for the Aspen Dungeon? I'm going to put them all up there because they're all great. So there's going to be a lot of different variables. I'm just going to generalize here. Valkyrie and Penny I'm going to put up there, and all these heroes will definitely at E5 will get you to Hell Aspen, and getting to Hell 50 is good enough. You don't have to go all the way to Death. The difference between Death and like Hell 50, well, if you want to min-max, sure, it's there, but if you made it to Hell, whew, you did a good job. And these heroes will all get you there, but Penny and any of these heroes will be fine because she is really good at clearing some of the tougher waves that Horus, Valkyrie, Cthugha, or Garuda struggles with. So that's what it's gonna be. They all require luck to avoid the hard waves, but this is how I'm going to rank them. Now, what about the Brave Trial? If you're not on a merge server, I have tested all these heroes, and on a very early game account, I have tested them, and what amazes me the most is going to be Miss Penny. You've seen my clears. You've seen like at least a dozen clear where she just one-shots everybody at 9-star. Your artifacts will also determine the placements. So if she has the Staff Punisher of Immortal, this is an event exclusive artifact. Yeah, it's not gonna be easy to get. So if she has Echo of Death, like crit and attack, and where's the other one here? Is this it? And this one as well, not bad whatsoever. Speed, HP, crit. You want to go first because in Brave Trials, right? In Brave Trials, you just want to be smashing those opponents before they fire with Penny. So Miss Penny with the crit stone and crit artifact, whew, she's going to be awesome in clearing Brave Trials for you. If you're on a merge server, then may God help you. I don't know. Idol Heroes God, help this man. Horus and Cthugha, yeah, they're pretty strong as well. They're not like Penny though. Penny can clear before your opponent's attack. So she can just one-shot the opponent's team, just clean finish. However, Cthugha and Horus need some time, but they do have a lot of self-sustain. So does Valkyrie, and Garuda. I've tried her in multiple servers. She's very good too, right? The difference is like so small. The only thing that's keeping Garuda a little bit lower is because of how she is ineffective when she is in a crowd control or CC effect. Alright, so next on up, let's talk about a very important one, Sealand. Yeah, while for the heavy spenders, Dark Faction will be the easiest to get to Sealand 20 with. However, for the rest of us mortals, we have to go with these heroes right here, hopefully. If you don't have these heroes, we'll talk about that very shortly. And the one I recommend the most is going to be, well, let's talk about it this way. The one that is so easy to get to at least like Sealand 13 and 14 is going to be Cthugha. Cthugha has a burn and a bleed, so it has that synergy with the Phoenix monster, so does Valkyrie, but Cthugha doesn't need any support heroes, and if you just slap him on with a damage reduced artifact, he's going to get up there 14, 15, no problem. You add in destroyers, he'll get higher. But if you add in the top ceiling, that's gonna be Horus with like minimal support heroes. But if we're talking like really end game Sealand, then we're gonna have Penny up in there. Like Penny, Emily, and Sigmund, they can get up to Sealand 20. But we're just gonna talk about one E5 hero with some support heroes like 3 stars or 5 stars or even 6 stars. Then it's gonna be our boy Horus. Now I'm going to put Garuda here. I'm gonna move her up, right? But the reason I put her down here right now is because she does rely on very hard to get artifacts like the Kiss of Ghost or the staff Punisher of Immortal. However, if you have some burn support heroes, she can do better than Valkyrie. So I'm gonna put her in whoops butts. Takes names, baby. All right, next is the fun one, the arena. Yeah, I'm talking about all of them in one. Oh no. All right, let's go. So in the arena, without a contest, guys, is going to be Miss Penny. She's going to bazooka the crap out of your opponent's lineup, just one shot or two shot him. And lately on the newer servers, Cthugha with the rework kicking butt as well. So Valkyrie was up here, right? She was up here, but with the Cthugha rework, now he can pretty much slay any number of Valkyries. He's immune to burns, and now he doesn't stall out, he just executes them with his dots. So yeah, on the newer servers, I'm noticing a bigger shift with, of course, Miss Penny and Cthugha. And Horus is going to be up around here, and Garuda, once again, due to CCs, she's going to be stuck down there. I've tried her. I know some folks who rushed a Garuda to E5, and she needs some kind of cushion and support to get the active going in round 2. And boy, when she does, it's gonna be nuts. And the feathers have to land on a high priority target in the opponent's team. Like if the feathers land on Miss Penny, then she's gonna be like, you know, whoa, wrong hero. She's gonna be up here. But if the feathers land on like a 5-star hero, then yeah. But don't let this list fool you guys. Garuda in the end game, she's like she's up above here, okay? So she's amazing. Garuda, oh my god, I can't say enough praise about Garuda. Now next on we're gonna talk about the guild, the Flame Shrine. Okay, so for the Flame Shrine bosses and broken spaces, oh man, it's gonna be very different because there are different types of bosses, whether it be Abyss, Fortress, you guys know the drill, and different classes. And of course, do they have CC? Do they target the lowest HP hero? Do they target the slot 1 hero? There are a lot of different factors, so I'm just gonna generalize this right now. I'm going to put Horus at the top of the world because of his, well, there are 2 reasons. So let's take a look. The second passive, whenever there are active skills going out in your team, he's going to get this buff. But also his last passive, when he blocks thrice, he's going to deal that max HP damage, which bypasses damage reduced as well as armor, and the bosses have a lot of those. And it's also going to heal him for the 40% of the damage that he dealt. And his active attack also has that 15% of enemies max HP to the front line. So what this max HP or current HP base damage means is that they're gonna do reliable amount of damage, and Horus has to self-sustain to survive, except for, of course, Berea or the last wave in the broken spaces. But I mean, with one E5 hero, that's gonna be rough for you. So Horus is gonna be your boy. I showcased that in my previous video. And number 2, we're gonna have Garuda and Miss Penny and Cthugha up there, and Valkyrie last. So Valkyrie is going to cap around 100 to 160 million against 3 targets. She has to self-sustain to survive. And Miss Penny can go from here to here depending on the bosses, because with Balance Strike, she is going to heal herself, and she's going to crit often, so she will heal herself. But if they hit too hard, then she's going to die early on. And Cthugha has the sustain from his dots. When your opponents are dotted and they attack Cthugha, it's going to heal him, and he's gonna get the attack buff, and that's gonna increase his heals, blah 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 blah. So he's gonna do decently. And Valkyrie, just because she's down here once again, doesn't mean she can't beat Garuda, Penny, or Cthugha. It really depends on the bosses, and she has the potential to stay alive to round 13 and 15 and do the job. But one thing is for certain, Garuda is just on another level when it comes to endgame PvE. Horus is up there as well, and Penny will be around, yeah, around here, and Valkyrie down there. But Garuda, just because she's here doesn't mean that she's bad. She does billions. I'm talking like at least 3-4 billion. Okay, so in the end game, don't underestimate Garuda. Don't underestimate any of these heroes, maybe except, you know, maybe Valkyrie. I'm sorry, but yeah, so Garuda, she's amazing in the end game. In the early game, she's hanging in there amongst the gods of early game, and in the end game, she's in a whole different league once again. So the last thing is something I never see other people talk about is accessibility. And of course, it depends on your RNG and everything, but which hero is relatively easier to get? And let's take a look at this data mining by Samagot. So we don't have Garuda, Penny, Cthugha up there just yet. What we do have is Horus, our boy from the Night 15 chest. We also have Valkyrie up in there as well. So outside of event rewards and all of that stuff, we're gonna have to put Horus as well as Valkyrie up in there, and Penny, Garuda, and Cthugha up here as well. All right, so with that, talking about the accessibility of these heroes, what if I don't have any of these heroes that you mentioned, Zeals? Well, let me talk about some B tier heroes, your alternatives that you can build up and eventually use as food. So we have Jara up there. I'm just gonna go over quickly. She can do decently in the Aspen Dungeon, but she did lose some self-sustain with her rework. So yeah, I mean, you can still get to hell with her, and in the Seal Land, not that high. You're not going to get to Seal Land 14 or 15 with minimal support like Penny or Horus or Cthugha. And in the Fortress faction, of course, Sigmund, he can get you to hell, even hell 50. At E3 days, he could get you to hell at E5. But of course, there are some nodes he struggles with. I would not recommend Ormus because he doesn't have the damage. Same with Emily. So Sigmund and Sia, not that bad as well. And Unimax. Now, in the Abyss faction, we have King Barton. He is very good alternative. In Seal Land, he'll get to at least 10. And in the Aspen Dungeon, he'll get you to hell. Same with Scary. Baria's not bad, but he only targets the front line with his active attack. So in Brave Trials or in the Aspen Dungeon against 4 enemies, he's gonna struggle. And in the Flame Shrine against the bosses, he's only going to hit the frontline target. Yeah, all right. Doesn't mean that he can't do a lot of damage. It just that's just his thing. And Dentalion, he's not bad whatsoever. E3, E5, he'll get you to hell. Most heroes will get you to hell. So I would highly recommend King Barton or Dentalion as your B tier. Nakia, she's squishy, guys, and she's not a bad hero, but early game, she needs a lot of support. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And in the Forest faction, we have a lot of options. We have Starlight. I love Starlight. She'll do well in PvP, Brave Trials, and against the bosses as well. So Starlight is a decent alternative. I'll push her to like E3 maybe, and then swap down the line or something. You can go all the way to E5 and swap or regress. That's fine. Vesa is not bad whatsoever. She can do decent damage as well as heal, of course. And like I said, if you cannot get any of the tier 1 copies like Valkyrie, Garuda, you gotta build something. You can't just wait for Valkyrie or a wild Garuda to appear in your bag. So Vesa is not a bad investment. So that's it for that. If you found this helpful, make sure you give this video a like, share it, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already done so. Make sure you give my previous video some love, and I hope you guys found it helpful. I don't know, guys. If you guys want more of this kind of stuff, if you want me to go more in detail, leave a comment down below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm out for now. Your boy Zeals. Peace!